All right. Hey guys, Mr. Kyle Myers Mathematics, and let's just jump into it. This is number 7 in a series on series, and I missed a day, so if you're watching it when I posted this, it's actually the 8th, but I'm trying to stay on track. Forgive me. Have some grace. We're gonna jump in and knock this one out here. So find a formula a sub n for the nth term of the arithmetic sequence. So an arithmetic sequence, by the way, would just be when you're adding the same number every time, or subtracting. You could say subtracting, or adding a negative. And they're saying that the first term is -3, so a sub 1 is -3, such that a sub n plus 1 minus a sub n is equal to 4. Okay, I don't like the way they're writing this, so in order to make more sense out of this, we could just add a sub n to both sides of this equation here. And if I do that, then a sub n plus 1 would be equal to a sub n plus 4. Well, that's basically telling us what the common difference is then. Because what this is saying is, okay, whatever a sub n is, let's say a sub 1. So like if n is 1, then what this would be saying is a sub 1 plus 1 is equal to a sub 1 plus 4, aka a sub 2 is a sub 1 plus 4, and we know that a sub 1 is -3, so I add 4 to that, and that gives me the next term in the sequence, 1. Well, what happened if I kept going with that? Well, then it would be n equals 2. Okay, so then a sub 2 plus 1, right? So you can kind of start to see the pattern here, hopefully. I'll do one more. So if you already see the pattern, you can scrub ahead just a little bit, but n equals 2, so then a sub 2 plus 1 would equal a sub 2 plus 4. A sub 3 is equal to a sub 2 we know is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, so the first term is -3. The next term is 1. The next term is 5. We're adding 4 every time. So what they basically gave us here, it wasn't in the correct format until I added a sub n to both sides, but that was basically what's called the recursive formula, or the recursive sequence. So the recursive formula is just going to tell us how to get to the next thing. So it only tells us what the common difference is, or if it's a recursive sequence for a geometric or something else, then you could still have it be recursive, but it would be like a sub 1 times 4, and then the common ratio would be 4. But that's the recursive formula they just gave us. Now, when they say find a formula, what they mean is the explicit formula. Because we have a formula. We have a formula for a sub n. A sub n is equal to the previous term, so a sub n minus 1 plus 4. You could write this with a sub n here instead, and then a sub n minus 1 there instead, and it would be the same thing, actually. But as far as creating the explicit formula, it would be the simplest thing to do would be to just follow the formula. So the formula normally is written in the books like this. A sub 1 is the first term. N is just n, right? It's kind of like the x, and then a sub n is kind of like the y. And then d is the common difference, which would be like the slope of a line. This is the explicit formula for an arithmetic sequence. So this would be the simplest way to do it, would be to just memorize the formula. And, that's always going to be a little bit faster. The more things you memorize, the faster you can get to the answer. That's just generally true about like all things in math. But we know the common difference is 4, so we just put a 4 there, and we know the first term is -3. And that would actually be it, as long as your teacher or professor, whatever title they go by, as long as they're fine with it being in that format, then that would be the answer. Now, let's say you didn't know the formula. Okay, well then what you can say is, okay, well if you know it's arithmetic, you have to know that arithmetic means that it's a linear. It's a linear change, so mx plus b. Well, we know the slope is 4 because that's the difference. The difference is the slope. You still have to kind of like know some things, but this is kind of the workaround if you don't know that really long explicit formula. So the slope is 4. And then we need to know a certain point in order to figure out what b is supposed to be. Well, we know that the first term, remember I said that n is like x? Well, the first term, n equals 1, is going to be -3. So the a sub 1, which is basically the y value, and if I solve that, so I'm gonna move this over here because I'm kind of running out of space and I don't want to have to scroll around too much. -3 plus 4 plus b, right? 4 times 1. And then I would, oh, hold on. Equals, not plus. Equals. I knew something seemed a little off there. And then I would subtract 4 from both sides. And then b would equal -7. So I could also write the answer as, now I'm gonna change it. So y is a sub n. And then the slope is still 4, so I'd put a 4. But instead of putting an x, I would put an n. And then b is -7. So I could also write it like this. And if you do the math here, it would actually end up being the same thing. If I were to distribute that 4, it would be 4 times n is 4n. 4 times -1 is -4. -4 plus -3 would be -7. So it's either one. It just, kind of depends on how you want to go about it. So you can either use the explicit formula, or you could basically just treat it like a line. If your teacher's okay with you leaving it in terms of y and x, then you could get away with that maybe. Just trying to, throw out some options for you so that, because if whatever method you're using right now is not working, hopefully one of these methods will work for you. So if one of these does, and you want to see me use that method in the following videos that I do, just let me know. Give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know how it's going. Let me know what methods you like and what you want to see more of, and I'll put that in the next videos. All right. Well, that's it for this one. You can always find more stuff on this series of series, or Calc 2. I believe I have the calculus folder should be popping up soon now that we're getting to the end of the video. And you can also grab my free guide down below in my comments. In the description below, I'll have my free guide, the 5 math mistakes everyone makes and how to avoid them, which is on my website, Myers Mathematics. And you can also shoot me an email if you're interested in tutoring. Catch you in the next video. Blessings, y'all.